Hello guys, welcome back to our tutorial how to write a book that can become a bestseller part 3. Okay, I hope you learned quite a lot from the part 1 and part 2 of this tutorial. Now in this third video, we will be talking about how to write titles for your fiction and non-fiction books, also have to write chapter titles and subtitles, also talk about keywords and how to write your description or your pitch. Okay, now let's look at titles for non-fictional books. Now your titles for non-fictional books should be enticing, okay, and also they should reveal to the reader what to expect from your book. Okay, that is you. Let me call it rule. All right, for non-fictional books, it should be enticing and it should reveal to your reader what to expect from the book. Now, a few tips on how to go about that. Number one, you can use the words or words that you used while searching for a theme or topic to write about. Now, in video 2, I told you about searching for a theme or topic by using certain words to do that. So yeah, those words that you use to search for the theme or topic that you've written about should be part of your title. Okay. Now another way to write a good title is by offering your reader something tempting. Okay. Now an example of that is, let's say I write a book about fashion and then I can choose to title my book How to Start a Fashion Business. And that is nice, but a better way to do that would be How to Start a Fashion Business in 60 Days. Now, they sound similar, but they're not the same thing. The second one is more tempting compared to the first. Okay. Now, a third way to get the title for your non-fiction books is by being unique or by being specific. Okay, and let me give you an example of that. Let's say I write a book on weight loss. All right, now I can choose to name my book How to Lose Weight with This Food Plan, or How to Lose Weight Following My Food Plan. That is good, but a better way to do that is going to be How to Lose at least 10 kg in 6 months using this food plan. Right? So the second example is more specific, more focused. Okay, so that is a good way to title your non-fiction books. Another way is that you can choose to play with your words. Okay, now I wrote a book about pregnancy, for example. I can choose to name it The Journey of Pregnancy. That is fine, but a better way to do that is going to be Pregnancy, the easiest journey ever. Now we know that the journey is not so easy, but I choose to call it easy in my book. So I'm playing with my words, my words. My reader want to know why I said the journey is easy when in actual sense it is not so easy. Okay, so that is one way to also title your non-fiction books. Now you can choose to use one of these tips or combine a few of them together. Okay, whatever appeals to your person and to your book. But one thing you should know is that your title should be as short as possible. Okay, your title should be as short as possible, because you know that in your book, in your cover page, okay, or your book cover, if your title is just too long, it's going to cover your image or your cover your book image. And also, you know that titles are written in huge font, in big fonts, okay, in big letters. So imagine if your title is long, okay, and then written in huge letters or in big font. It might cover take all the space in the cover, in your book cover. So it should be as short as possible. Okay, good. So now we'll talk about chapter titles and subtitles for non-fiction books. Now, why is it important to be careful, okay, on how you write your titles for chapters? and also your subtitles. Now, when you publish your book digitally, Amazon for example, and a reader wants to, buy your book, there is what they call the look inside feature. Okay. Now, with that, a reader can see a few pages of a book that they intend to buy. Okay. Now, in most cases, a table of content make up those pages that will be part of the look inside feature. So you want to, and you know that your chapters, the title of your chapters and subtitles are what makes up your table of content. Okay, so if your table of content is going to be part of the look inside feature that the reader is going to see before buying your book, then you should make it as appealing as possible. All right, and that is why it's important to make your chapter titles and subtitles nice as much as your title is. And let me give you a few examples on how to do that. Now, let's say, for example, I write a book on pregnancy, for example. Now, if I say my chapter 1 is signs of pregnancy, okay, that is fine. But a better way to do that is going to be, how do you know you're pregnant? Okay, now they sound alike, they might have the same meaning, but they do not appeal the same way. Okay, now let's look at something else. Chapter 2 can be nutrition during pregnancy. Now, a better way to do that is going to be what to eat and what not to eat during pregnancy. Now, chapter 3 can be baby shopping, for example. Now, a better way to do that is you can say what most mom forgets to buy during baby shopping. Now, these 3 chapters on this side, they are okay. But the 3 on this other side, they are better, okay? I mean, the chapter is saying the same thing, but the way I title it, okay, can give it a different meaning altogether. So your titles for chapters and subtitles should be as appealing, okay, as they can be. All right, good. So now we'll leave the non-fiction niche and then we'll go over to fiction, fictional books. Fictional books, yeah. So now let's see. For fictional books, the format or the formula is completely different from non-fiction books. Okay. Now for non-fiction books, you want to reveal to your reader what you expect in your book. But for fictional books, you should not reveal to your reader what you expect in your book. Okay. There should be an element of mystery. Okay, a mystifying element or factor in the way you title your fictional books. All right. Now, some tips on how to title your fictional books is or are: number one, you might want to use the the centerpiece of your book as your title. The centerpiece of your book as your title. Maybe the name of the protagonist, for example, or the description of your protagonist, for example. So now you can choose to name your book Amanda or Melanin, for example. So it would have be like, who is Amanda? What happened to Amanda? Alright. So that is an example of using the centerpiece of your book as your title. Now, another way to title your fictional books, is by using the your theme, okay, your theme as your title. An example of this is the popular book called Love and Prejudice. Okay, that book is a good example of how to use your theme as your title. Another way is that you can choose to use the place or the setting of your book as your title. Alright, maybe the story happened in New York, or story happened, in the campus or in the village. So you can choose to name your book New York or the campus or the village. Alright, a reader will want to know what happened in New York, or what happened in the campus, or what happened in the village. Another way to do that is by using the season or the time, okay, in which the story happened. So you can choose to name your book One Christmas, or One Easter, or One Rainy Day, or 12 noon, okay, or 11:30 p.m. Alright. So a reader will want to know what happened at 11:30 p.m. What happened in one rainy day? What happened in one Christmas or one summer or whatever? Alright, that is an example. Another way to do that, to title your fictional books, is by using a paradox. Now, a paradox is a statement that contradicts itself. Alright? A statement that sounds absurd, but if you think about it, critically, there may be some truth in it. Alright, that is what a paradox is. An example of a paradox is when people say less is more, and that is a paradox. When they say something like the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Yeah, that is also a paradox. Okay. Yeah, so you can use a paradox to title your fictional books. And lastly, you can use the exact moment that sets everything about your book in motion. Like the exact moment where something happened and that thing just changed everything about the story. Like, just, let's call it a twist. Okay, a twist. The moment in which a twist occurred, okay, and then that twist, gave the book a different direction altogether. So you can choose to use that moment to title your fictional books. Okay. Honestly, I hope I explained all of those tips enough. Honestly. Okay. Now let's look at something else. Let's look at keywords. Alright. Keywords. Now, a keyword is keyword, no, a word that is key. Okay, so let's look at keywords. Now, keywords are very important. Very, very important. We cannot overemphasize the importance of keywords. Now, why are keywords so important? The reason is because keywords increases the chance of your book to be visible to readers. Alright, keyword increases the visibility of your book to readers. Alright. Now, ways by which you can, get keywords are: number one, I told you about using when I spoke about giving titles to your non-fiction books, and then I said something like use the words you use during the search for your theme as part of your title. Now, those words are keywords, alright? Now, the same way you searched out those words to know what to write on, a reader will search out those words also to look for a book, and your book will just pop up, or might just pop up. So use keywords in your title. An example I gave you earlier on is a good way to know how to use keywords in your title, using the word that you search for as part of your title. Now, keywords should also be in your description. Okay, very, very important. Now, when you're publishing your book on any platform at all, Amazon for example, and there's a particular segment where you have to fill in your keywords, okay, at least two keywords, okay, so you want to fill in those parts. You can use keywords generating tools to search out for keywords to use. So You have to fill in those parts. Now, there is another part where you have to fill in your category. If your book is a motivational book, a fiction book, non-fiction book, a Christian book, health book, okay? So you have to fill in your category in that segment. So now, you should not use your category as part of your keywords, okay? When they say fill in your keywords, do not put the category of your book as part of your keywords. Now, you want to utilize every chance you get to write a keyword, okay? Utilize every chance you get to write a keyword. So don't go about repeating a word more than once, okay? Let the keyword in your title and description and actual keyword in your segment be different. Try not to repeat words when it comes to keywords, because the more words you use to describe your book, okay, the better your chances of your books to become visible to readers. So do not repeat your keywords, okay? Good. So now we'll look at something else. Description. Now, description is another very important part of publishing a book. Now, your description or your pitch is your, let me call it, your readers deciding moment if they will buy your book or not. That is how your description, that is how important your description is. Okay, a reader can finish reading your description and say, okay, I will buy this book, or I say, nah, I will not buy this book. Okay, it is very important for you to give or to write a very intriguing description for your book. Now, let's say your book is a fictional book, for example, and then you wrote about horror, or let's say it's a romance novel, for example. Now, you should not give a romantic description to a horror book, all right? And do not give a terrifying description to a romantic book. Now, let your reader get a feeling of what is in the book. If your book is a horror book, let your reader feel a bit of the fear when they read your description. Okay, if it's a book of love, okay, let them feel a bit of the love when they read your description. The book is pity, whatever it is, anger, let them get to feel a bit, at least, of that anger or pity when they read your description. So in essence, for fictional books, sorry, you have to stick to your theme. All right, you have to stick to your theme. Do not get things misplaced or scattered, whatever. Now, for non-fiction books, you need to be as authoritative as possible. All right, you have to write your description in a way that makes your reader know that, okay, you know what you're saying. Okay, I trust what you're saying, I believe your judgment. Okay, so write your description as authoritative, as knowledgeable as you can. Give your reader a reason to want to trust what is in the book. Okay, that is how to write the description for your non-fiction books. Now, when it comes to writing description, your first sentence or your first two sentences should be a bang. All right, your description is not where you want to keep the best for last. Do not keep the best for last in your description. Let your first sentence or first two sentences be, let them be intriguing. Let them be able to hook your reader, so that the reader will want to say, wow, continue reading your description, and eventually finish reading your description and ultimately want to buy your book. So do not keep the best for last when it comes to writing description. Okay, good. Now, one thing you should know with description is that it should be as long as possible. Now for your titles, remember I said it should be as short as possible. But for description, it should be as long as possible. I'm not saying it should be too long, I'm saying as long as possible. Now, when your title is too short, it will not explain anything, right? And when it's too long, it becomes boring. So it should be as long as it needs to be. Okay, now that's the point. Now we'll stop here for now for this video. I hope you learned quite a lot. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. Okay, so till then, bye for now.